Long before meditation apps and corporate mindfulness retreats, a young boy from Bengal grew up with a singular, burning goal: to find God. That boy became Paramahansa Yogananda, the man widely credited with introducing the ancient science of yoga to the West. He recorded that journey in a memoir that, over a century later, remains a beloved map of the inner life. It's the kind of book people tend to quietly hand to their friends during periods of profound transition or questioning. This video explores a spiritual classic for the sake of reflection and wonder, and is not intended as religious instruction. In late 19th century India, young Mukunda, Yogananda's birth name, was consumed by a restlessness that ordinary life couldn't satisfy. He possessed an intense, burning childhood longing for a direct, tangible experience of the divine. He spent years seeking out sages and saints across the country, looking for a true guide. That desperate search finally came to an end when he walked into a market in Benares and locked eyes with a calm, imposing ascetic named Sri Yukteswar. The text describes this moment as an instant soul-level recognition, a reconnection after lifetimes apart. Mukunda immediately transferred the burden of his master, initiating a bond of absolute obedience and training that serves as the book's central model for reaching the divine. This meeting underscores the author's belief that the spiritual journey isn't rooted in a specific geography or culture. It begins with the universal human ache for a higher connection. As Yogananda ventures deeper into his training, the book asks us to consider the limits of biology. Could the human body, theoretically, be sustained purely by subtle energy rather than physical food? Yogananda recounts traveling to an isolated village to meet Giri Bala, a woman who he says took no food or liquid of any kind. According to the text, she had maintained this total fast for over 50 years, but when meeting her, Yogananda is struck less by the physical anomaly and more by her profound motherly peace. The text focuses on her state of total poise, drawing her nourishment directly from the sunlight and the air. This is one of many instances where the book presents yogis operating with abilities that defy ordinary scientific explanation. In another chapter, he shares the account of Swami Pranabananda, an aging saint whom Yogananda describes witnessing and conversing with in two entirely different cities at the exact same time. The book frames this mystery around a specific teaching: the human soul is essentially incorporeal. From the yogic perspective, we are simply not bound by gross physical matter in the rigid ways we assume. So, how do these masters touch the divine so deeply that their physical boundaries seem to bend? The answer lies in a practice called Kriya Yoga. Looking at this visualization, we can see the core concept: a quiet, internal science of breath mastery that works by smoothing out the chaotic, jagged waves of the restless mind until a single, continuous line of focus remains. This physical and mental stilling leads to the book's central claim: that direct contact with the infinite is a reproducible, experiential fact, accessible to anyone willing to master the mechanics of their own internal stillness. Ultimately, the miraculous events witnessed by Yogananda are just doorways. They point to the realization that the divine is accessible from within anyone who is willing to practice the science of stillness. Importantly, this realization recognizes no borders and honors no sectarian divides. Yogananda held a deep reverence for the teachings of Jesus Christ, and in 1935 he traveled to Bavaria, specifically to meet the Catholic mystic Therese Neumann, recognizing her as a true lover of God. This forms the inclusive core of his message. To him, the exact same divine light shines equally through the heart of every authentic religion. This brings us to the most sacred, intimate moment in the text, occurring in the wake of heartbreaking loss, the passing of his beloved guru. Yogananda describes his deep consolation when Sri Yukteswar returns to him, manifesting in bodily form after his death, offering final proof to his student that the soul never truly dies. You don't need to believe in every single wonder or miracle detailed in these pages to be profoundly moved by them. Autobiography of a Yogi resonates so deeply because it speaks past our intellect, addressing the universal human wish to know the divine directly, rather than just taking someone else's word for it. It is a remarkable map of the inner life, and an open invitation to join the timeless, ongoing conversation of the soul's journey.